But in the head of all the rest, in the end you'll see the ultimate prize. Just to do your best, that's happiness. I'll do a little bit of a solo, then you can do a solo, and I'll just keep
fine. Am I going to be paid more for my show?
Yeah, we're live, by the way.
Yeah.
It's 10:25, it's live.
Oh, then we should be playing music at this moment. Transformation, please, sir.
Hello, everybody. We'll be right with you.
Thank you, thank you.
Hello.
Are we on?
Yep.
Gonna be a transformation in your heart and your soul. Gonna be a transformation, baby, now that you know. Get used to righteousness, cause it makes you feel whole. Gonna be a transformation down in your soul. Remember when we were downhearted, didn't have no place to go. Whether you lose the love and security, knowing that we know something starts happening, feels like you're on a roll. Gonna be transformation. But like a river keeps on wanting to flow, keeps advancing with the wisdom you know. Time has a rhythm when the love is in love. Love is forever down in your soul. Gonna be a transformation down in your soul. Gonna be a transformation now that you know. Get used to righteousness, cause it makes you feel whole. Gonna be a transformation down in your soul. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. transformation down in your soul. Thank you. Every woman, every man, every race, on every land, we must try to understand through God's light and His love. We are one. Every creature, from earth to sea, every leaf on every tree, we all share the same energy. Through her light and her love, we are one. We are one. I know that it's so hard for us to see. We are one. The two separating you and me. We are one. For in life's duality, we are life, we are love, we are one. Those who hear, those who know that God, when it's time for us to show that God's way is the way to go. Through His light and His love, we are one. I know that it's so hard for us to see. We are one. Illusion separating you and me. We are one. But in life's duality, we are life, we are love, we are one. Every creature from earth to sea, every leaf on every tree, we all share the same energy. Through her light and her love, we are one. We are one. I know it's so hard for us to see. We are one. Illusions are written down. We are one. For in life's duality, we are life, we are love, we are one. We are life, we are love, we are one. We are one. We are life, we are love, we are one. We are life, we are love, we are one.
Oh, it's a jazzy kind of day. I love it. Hi, everybody. Good morning to all of you who are here in person. It's always wonderful to see you, and of course, anyone who's watching virtually at any time from this moment on into the future. And so we are blessed to be together today because it's in spiritual community that we find a sense of belonging, that we feel a deeper connection to ourselves, to each other, and to the divine. And so we are still exploring the theme for November, which is breathe in the view. And that is part of a theme of the year, which was timeless wisdom, evolutionary vision. So today I'm talking about the topic beauty everywhere. And we have a surprise guest doing a reading because Theo is publishing his book next week and he has had a very full plate. So we know that he's in the right place at the right time. But we have with us James Brough on piano and Rich McClusky on drum. And of course our beloved Michael, who's here every Sunday just about taking care of our sound and our IT stuff. It's always a blessing. And the topic today, what we're going to explore, is really very simple. It's nothing you don't already know. It's about remembering that part of our spiritual path is to discover that there is beauty everywhere, even when we first look and don't see it. It's just an invitation to look deeper, because what we see is directly related to our own consciousness and our own belief system. So it's not just what we're looking at, but what we're seeing as individuals. And then how can we keep that most simple? So my name is Frankie Timmers, and I'm the spiritual director here at our beloved Center for Spiritual Living Morristown. If you are virtual and you want to know more about us, just go to our website, cslmorristown.org. That's also a really great and easy place to financially support what we're doing here at our center. And one of my favorite ones is Text to Give. I know I say that every week, but I love doing that. I actually did it this morning. I usually do it later, but I did it this morning because I can't wait. And I love doing it. It's such a new thing for me. So if you are virtual, say hello, use the bubbles, ask any questions, make any comments, let us know what you would love for me to talk about or for us to offer as a spiritual community. And if you're on YouTube, I think you can do a thumbs up or a thumbs down and also make comments. And that said, I want everybody who's local to know that I am a volunteer at the local Morris County Correction Facility where I've been teaching meditation for 21 years with a little break with COVID and then switched to Zoom. And we're doing a collection for all the inmates. And so even if you're not local and you'd like to support that, send us a donation and I will happily go shopping for you. But there's a box out in the foyer, and on the paper it says what we're looking for. If you receive our emails, it's also been on the emails. And what else did I want to tell you? Yes, today at 12:30 our time, we're doing a workshop on Zoom with Kat Roman. This is the third one, and we're going to draw a mandala. So those of you that are here and haven't registered yet and you want to join me, I'll be on Zoom on my laptop making a mandala, and you're welcome to join me. We'll just go sit downstairs in Friendship Hall or stay up here. Otherwise, those of you who register on Zoom, we'll see you there. It's a 2-hour workshop. And next week, we have a wonderful surprise. One of our own, Gail Jones, is presenting her brand new book, and there will be a book signing and a Q&A after celebration. So come and join us for that. Her book is called Butterfly Rising, A Journey to Love, Healing, and Freedom from the Cocoon of Codependency. And then Michael will do a chakra workshop on November 30th, which is the crown chakra, and it's from 7:30 to 9, and it's on Zoom. All right, that was the crown chakra ding. So let's do a treatment. We'll have some more music, and then we'll dive into the topic. So I invite you to close your eyes, whether you're here or virtual, because there's something when we withdraw our attention from the outer world and bring it to that secret, sacred place already within us. And here we come to know, we come to remember, which means to know again, the truth of our very being, that we are spirit incarnate, and that we experience that at the level of our soul, and that our human experience is really the teaching realm, the living laboratory. And so today we bring ease, grace, and deep compassion to this experience, which is really about our evolution. We trust that the experiences that we're having in life are not there to burden us, but are there to awaken us, to grow us, to expand our experience of life, and to remember that love is all there is. That love is the healing vibration that is everywhere present. And in our commitment to live that way, we realize there's beauty everywhere. And so we are blessed to be together in whatever form that is, to not only remind each other and to remember, but to celebrate the beauty of this truth. Trusting the divine evolution that is taking place for ourselves, for each other, and for everyone on this planet, knowing that everybody is spirit incarnate. So with awe and gratitude, we let this reality become our reality, knowing that universal law does the work. We simply stay open, receptive, and filled with faith. And so it is. All right, James and Richie, take it away.
Everybody blessed this time, born to love and born to shine. Heavenly spirit, flesh as me, born to love, born to be free. Born to fly, born to feel, born to cry, born to heal. Born to fly, born to feel, I'm born to cry, I'm born to heal. Heavenly body on the screen, my desires in this scene, to play the part I came to play, and spread some love along the way. I'm born to fly, born to care, born to cry, I'm born to share. Born to fly, born to care, born to cry, I'm born to share. Soul searching, soul searching, soul searching, soul searching. I know what made the moon and stars above. It's deep within my soul and real love. Everybody bless this time, born to feel, born to cry, we're born to heal.
Oh, well, that was so delicious. I love that song. It's been a while I've heard that. Thank you so much, James. Always a pleasure to hear you sing and Richie play. And I'm looking at all those cables and I'm thinking, what? And how do you bring that in and take it back every time? So appreciative. So we have a little surprise. There is a beautiful Taoist sunrise prayer by Deng Ming Dao, who's a contemporary Chinese-American author. And Eileen Gans is going to read it for us. So Eileen, come on up.
Thank you, Dr. Frankie. All we need is the morning. As long as there is sunrise, then there is the possibility that we can face all our misfortunes, celebrate all our blessings, and live all our endeavors as human beings. Spirituality is something that has become necessary in these troubled times. Yet it is inherently superfluous. We need it to remind ourselves, to bolster ourselves, to integrate ourselves, to fulfill ourselves. If we could simply acknowledge the mystery of night and the glory of morning, we would need neither civilization nor spirituality. At its simplest, life begins with dawn. That is blessing enough. All else becomes fullness immeasurable. At dawn, kneel down and give thanks for this wonderful event. We may think mornings are so common, they are unworthy of veneration. But do you realize most places in the cosmos do not have mornings? This daily event is our supreme goodness. Greet the dawn. That is your miracle to witness. That is the ultimate beauty. That is sacredness. That is your gift from heaven. That is your omen of prophecy. That is knowledge that life is not futile. That is enlightenment. That is your meaning in life. That is your directive. That is your comfort. That is the solemnity of duty. That is inspiration for compassion. That is the light of the ultimate. Deng Ming Dao.
I think that beautiful prayer, that beautiful poem is such a reminder that there's beauty everywhere. It may be more easy to notice it now with the fall colors. It may be easier to notice when you feel great, when you're happy, when you have happy moments, when you read beautiful poetry, or whatever it is that you're doing. I mean, when is it easier to say, oh, beauty is everywhere? When is it easier? Anybody? When you're in love, it's easier, right? When you win the lottery. What else? When is it easier? When you're in nature, yeah.
You're at peace with yourself.
When you're at peace with yourself.
When you're with the people you love.
When you're with the people you love. Yes, and so there's times when it's easier, which tells us that it exists, that it's possible, right? So sometimes people that are not in this teaching, and I'm talking this kind of language, they go, well, what about climate change? Or what about people suffering? Or what about the piles of trash everywhere we generate? Because as a country, we generate more trash than anywhere else, right? What about concrete buildings? What about this? What about that? It's just an invitation to look deeper and to see through different eyes. It's the work of spiritual maturity, spiritual maturing, spiritual evolution, to really look for beauty everywhere. Because it's a truth principle, right? It's a truth principle that says God is all there is, love is all there is, beauty is all there is, peace is all there is. And if we're not experiencing it, it's an invitation not just to look deeper and to look through different eyes, but to be committed to see the principles of our teaching manifest and demonstrate. That's just a reminder that you and I believe in the oneness of all life. In the oneness of all life, there is no this and that, here and there, beauty and ugliness, good and bad, dark and light. There's just the oneness of all life, and that's what I mentioned in our spiritual mind treatment. That's the evolution that is taking place. Will we arrive at that? Maybe not, probably not, but it can be our intention. It can be our home base as a truth principle. And so Ernest Holmes in the textbook says this, and I have always loved that phrase. He says that what we see is that which we're looking for and looking with and looking at. What we look for and look with and look at is also one, is also connected. If I see ugliness, it's because I'm looking through the eyes of ugliness. I'm looking with the eyes of ugliness. And then, so that allows me to pause and reflect and think about and reconcile and play with, and then there's room for letting go, right? Which is, it's a practice, it's a process. It doesn't happen overnight. One of the deep intentions that has come to me recently are the words, do it differently. And I like making art journals. So I'm making an art journal with the title of Do It Differently. And what I mean by that is that when something isn't working, or when I feel anxiety or worry or stress about anything, whether it's here, about work, or my personal life, the invitation, the intention is right there. Do it differently. And that means that I get to choose in that moment. And a lot of that choice is about letting go. Just letting go and trusting. It's a wonderful practice because right away it feels right. Will I have success immediately? Oh, maybe for a minute, 10 minutes, an hour, but maybe not. I just get to keep practicing. So it's not just the looking alone, right? It's the looking connected to the seeing, connected to my consciousness, connected to what wants to become aware in regards to what I believe. So it's about becoming more conscious. And that's a gift and a blessing that we as incarnations of the divine, happening to be human beings, get to play with, get to explore, get to think about, get to reconcile. And so the looking at is the what, and the seeing is the how. What I see and how I see it becomes my own unique experience. That's why you can go to see a piece of art with a friend and the friend said, it's stupid, I hate it, and you say, I'm having a mystical experience. I mean, do you have any examples yourself where you've been with someone and you have such diametrically opposed experiences? Like where? Where would that show up for you?
MoMA.
MoMA. Going to MoMA, yes. Museum of Modern History? Modern Art in New York, yes. What else?
Movies.
Movies? Yeah, there's some movies, no way will I even watch them. And some people are like, oh, it's the best. Oh, so I saw somebody dressed up at a Halloween party, and I said, what is that? And this was from Squid Game, which I heard about is like the best thing on Netflix, and I read about it, and I was like, there's no way I will even watch that, right? So it's the differences. What else? Music? Ooh, I can't listen to that. It's terrible, right? I have a brother-in-law and my sister as well. They love classical music. I love jazz. So we joke about that, right? They don't quite understand I don't love classical music, and I don't quite understand how they don't like jazz. But that's the beauty of all our differences. Anybody else have another example?
Humor.
Humor. Yes, personally, I do not like sarcastic humor or immature. So I'm kind of like, don't laugh at a lot of jokes. But some people just wet their pants listening to that, right? Anybody else have an example? Yeah, so the beauty then is to say, that's what I love, that's what I like, and I'm okay with it. And that's what he, she, they like and they love, and I'm okay with it. Because it's just knowing that in that sense there is no right or wrong. And then it allows us to be more free and to allow others to be more free. So it's an opportunity to reflect that our differences are not a burden, but that they add to the multiplicity of life. And when there are some things that we have a hard time with, then we can think about those and reconcile them and maybe make peace with them, or maybe just decide you're never going to be at peace with them. And that's freeing as well. So I'm bringing it back to this idea that we can make life so much more simple. If there's anything that I've discovered over the last few years is that simplicity is a blessing and a gift. I think that's the message of the whole pandemic that we're going through as a world. It's inviting us to simplify life, to go back to the simplicity of taking care of ourselves, taking care of each other, taking care of our earth, creating space and time in our day, and not glorify busyness. And so that's the spiritual potential of the pandemic, right? Is that can we come back to this simplicity of life? Because it's the ego that loves to create drama and makes it all very complex and complicated. And then focus on the complexity instead of asking ourselves, how can I make it more simple? It's really what happened. The cosmic balance was disturbed. Everything got shaken up and shaken out. And we get to arrive at a simple awareness that life is a gift and a blessing. I think it was mostly a spiritual wake-up call. And I really believe that more people are now interested in spirituality and interested in having a more peaceful, calm life and interested in healing the blocks that previously people didn't have time for because they were so busy. And so returning to a simplicity in our language is to remember our essential nature, is to go back to our true origin, to the essence of life, which is pure spirit, to the beginning, when pure spirit was all there was, and it created all this out of itself. And so we can use that idea to simply breathe, to simply be, to simply stay connected. And it's the things that bring us beauty that are then nurturing and are serving us. I have done more walking in the last few, well, really year and a half, but in the last few weeks with the fall. And I feel like this is the most beautiful fall we've ever had. I don't know if that's true, but it seems that way. And I think it's just because those of us who feel the same way, we're just more present. We're taking better care of ourselves. We're enjoying Mother Nature in a different way. And so my suggestion always is pick one truth principle that you have learned in our teaching. Take one basic principle. We have many principles, right? There is definitely the Declaration of Principles in the Science of Mind teaching. You can pick one of those. But to pick a basic principle that we then make a commitment to applying, and especially where we're challenged. So what are some of the basic principles that you feel passionate about in our teaching? I know it might be a difficult thing to answer, but just kind of listen to your heart and your gut. And they don't have to be literal principles that we teach. But what is a basic principle of spirituality that you've learned here?
The oneness of all life.
The oneness of all life. Yeah, and so we pick oneness of all life. Okay, so now I can see where I believe that, where I experience that, and where I don't. It might just happen when you're at the grocery store, standing in line. Oh, oneness of all life. Right? What else?
It is done unto you as you believe.
It is done unto you as you believe. The basic principle of our teaching, which happens to be a basic principle in every other religious tradition as well, maybe in a different way. And so, yes, that's exciting when life is great, but the moments that things seem to fall apart, that goes out the window. So we, not for you, of course, not for any of you, is that when we remember that when we're struggling and we kind of go back to that basic principle, oh, it's done unto me as I believe. Oh, okay, I can do something with that. That makes me feel powerful instead of a victim, right? What else?
We are all expressions of divine love.
We're all expressions of divine love. Yes, love is all there is, we say all the time, right? We're all expressions of divine love. That is easy to remember when you look into the eyes of your kiddies, your beloved Andrew, beloved friends and family, but watch the news and see what's happening in the world. It gets a little harder, right? I mean, it does for me. Am I the only one that it gets a little harder for? Oh, good. So those are moments of practice. We're all expressions of divine love. I may not see it, but I know it's the truth. So it's going back to the truth principles, right? Anybody have another one?
Why is this happening for me?
Why is this happening for me? So is that a principle for you?
Well, you have to turn it around from the original, right? Why is this happening to me? Why?
Why is this happening to me? And so the principle could be everything is happening for me. Right? Everything is happening for me. Why is a great question, right? It's a victim loves to ask that question, and let me just tell you, there's no answer. So it's a waste of time and energy. But if we can say, if everything is happening for me, then how could this be happening for my good? How is it teaching me, growing me? Yes. So pick a principle that you love, maybe one you heard today, and say, let me first celebrate where I'm already experiencing it. And then let me see if I can apply it to some areas where I might be challenged or where I might be struggling. And so what we teach in our teaching is that there's the realm of the absolute, which is love is all there is. Peace is all there is. Divine right action is always taking place. Absolute abundance is my birthright. That's the absolute. And then, because we are individualized expressions of the one, we experience the relative and the absolute because we live in the world of duality. And that's where we experience the relative as in relative to the absolute, depending on what we believe and what we think. The absolute is absolute first cause, which we may not always be experiencing. We probably aren't. But the relative is the realm of effect, and we know that we always must return to the absolute truth of life and see it manifest in our world, or be willing to learn and grow. So when we are worried, anxious, afraid, whatever, it's just an opportunity to take a breath and say, what do I believe here? How do I feel? What do I believe? And what's possible? What's possible? So maybe when you are getting a scare, a health scare, or a diagnosis, it's okay to be worried and afraid and anxious and scared. But there comes a moment where you have to return to, wait a minute, there is an absolute truth within me. It's my original nature. It does not know of any disease. I can be peaceful and trusting until I have more information, until I need to make a decision. And so what that means is that the oneness of all life shows up in the realm of the absolute and the relative, in the realm of cause and in the realm of effect. But because we are individualized expressions of the one, we have to use our mind to choose, knowing that what we choose becomes our reality or our experience. So what we're learning here is that we are not in service to our human experience. We're in service to our spiritual experience. We're in service to our soul's evolution. It's the thing I am very aware of has gotten us into the pickle we are in as humanity, is we have forgotten that we are spiritual beings, that we are souls, and not just we, everything, everyone, everywhere, all the time. And that becomes part of the transformation and the healing that wants to happen. Spirit matters. Let's start a revolution with that. Spirit matters. Soul matters. So what do we do then? Well, we work with the disturbances and the polarities. Instead of resist them, which I think we have a tendency to do, to resist them or to worry about them or to be afraid of them or to, you know, it's like when people say, I don't like conflict. Well, you better make peace with conflict because that's where the oneness wants to be known, seen, felt, demonstrated, right? And so it's to reconcile the polarities, to come to a place of this, and there's a middle. There's a place of solid ground, a place of solid principle, a place of the absolute that wants to be known in a more powerful, rich, deeper way. And then we remember, as within, so without. As without, so within. That there is no line. There's no gap. There is no separation. They're all connected. And then we remember that we can make things new simply by using our imagination. So if you have an area in your life where you're challenged, instead of, you know, am I the only one that does that? No. To imagine what we want instead. To imagine what's possible. To imagine what wants to be lived, experienced, known. And then you can go back to, and then you'll realize how miserable that is and what a waste of time and energy that is, right? So we use our imagination. So I want you to take a moment to close your eyes. And I want you to imagine that you're walking in a beautiful garden. And it can be a garden you've been to, it can be your own garden, it can be a garden in your imagination, it can be whatever season you want it to be. It's your imagination, you can do whatever you want. And you see a bench. It's like a perfect bench. All you can think about is to go sit on that bench and take in the beautiful garden. And all of a sudden, you feel someone sitting next to you. So you look, and it's somebody that you love so much. Someone you love so much. You love them so much that there's nothing to be said. Maybe you can take their hand or put your arms around each other or just snuggle a little closer and just feel what that feels like. What do you see in this person? How do you feel? And so then you feel them get up and walk away, and so you're sitting by yourself again. Just feel the space that has been created by this person leaving. And then scoot over with your little patootie to the other side of the bench that you were sitting at in your imagination. And then you feel somebody sitting on the other side. And you peek and you realize it's the person that you're the most challenged by. It could be someone famous. It could be someone you know. It could be someone from your past. Just somebody who makes your heart ache. Again, there's nothing to talk about. You're just sitting together. There's some space between you because it just isn't the same as the one you love with the one you love. Remember to breathe. And just notice the experiences you've had with this person, or the stories that you've made up about them. Notice how you feel. Notice your thoughts. And then you feel them get up and walk away. And feel what that feels like now that they're gone. And then slowly open your eyes. So the difference is not the person. The difference is your experience with them, your feelings about them, your beliefs about them. And so the invitation is to see that last person that you have the hardest time with in a new way. Just see them in a new way. They've had their experiences, their burdens, their troubles, their heartache. They're still the divine expressing through them. They're still people with a heart, with love in their heart. Maybe not towards you. And so seeing them in a new way, seeing that they are also spirit incarnate, then allows you to realize that everyone is entitled to their own journey. It's not up to us to say it should be a certain way, right? So easy to do. But everybody is entitled to their own journey. The person that you love the most and the person that you don't love the most, they have their own journey. And they're both, the one is more of a support and the one is like a teacher. This is just a reminder to say, I choose to live from the principle that beauty is everywhere. I'm willing to be healed and nourished by it. I'm willing to look until I see a spark of light, a spark of love, a spark of compassion in myself. And I'm willing to keep it really simple. Bringing it back to the sweet, simple principles that we teach. that are so big to embrace and live, but so available to support us. So let's close this with a spiritual mind treatment. Oh, wait, I wanted to read this. I love this. It reminds me of Stephanie. It's by Aubrey Marcus. You are comprised of 84 minerals, 23 elements, and 8 gallons of water spread across 38 trillion cells. Let me read that again. You are comprised of 84 minerals, 23 elements, and 8 gallons of water spread across 38 trillion cells. You have been built up from nothing by the spare parts of the earth you have consumed. According to a set of instructions hidden in a double helix and small enough to carry by an egg and a sperm, you are recycled butterflies, plants, rocks, streams, firewood, wolf fur, and shark teeth, broken down to their smallest parts and rebuilt into our planet's most complex living thing. You're not living on Earth. You are Earth. Isn't that great? All right, let's close with a healing treatment, and then we'll have a little more music. I want you, those of you who are here, to take a look at the back table because there's 2 new events in December. One is going to happen here, and it's very special with Michel Pascal. And we're going to do some wonderful things as we transform from leaving this building, which we don't know yet exactly when that is, to wherever we come to meet again together. And you're all invited to be a part of that. So let's know this. Let's know that there is beauty everywhere. Just think for a moment how gloriously beautiful each breath is. Each heartbeat is. This is true for everything, everyone, everywhere, all the time. And that's what our evolution is about. That's what this life is about, this lifetime is about. So today we open our hearts filled with compassion to take time enough to see the beauty everywhere, to heal where we experience any kind of ugliness, and to remember the presence and the power of divine love. And so no matter what's happening in our world, in our personal world, to ourselves, to each other, there's always the divine making itself known. Today we claim that in a new way, so that that which has burdened us or is burdening us now falls away. So we remember the simplicity of being, this moment, this breath, this experience for us. Everything deeply and profoundly sacred and blessed. So trusting this truth and allowing it to take root within our consciousness already dissolves much of what's been in the way and sparks our consciousness to continue to see life differently through the eyes of truth principles, one at a time. And so it is.
Down and out, just take a break, you'll sort it out. If you find a feeling down and out, just take time. Don't it feel good to be alive? Take a walk outside and let the air clean your head. Fill it all up with sunshine instead. If you feel stuck in the dark, that's okay. There's a will, there is a way. There will be times you will have to make up your mind. Take a breath and let it unwind. You will see that everything is fine. First you gotta let it all go. Know that it's beyond your control. When you start to be in the flow, if you take the time, the time. There ain't nothing wrong with wanting to be the best. Running ahead of all the rest. In the end, you see the ultimate prize. To be your best, that's happiness. Some of your friends may not. Try it again. Some of your friends may not like the message you send. Their vision happy and content to be alive. They may want to struggle and complain about the life is so insane, but don't you dare join the game. Just throw them a smile. Thank you.